This story takes place in Edo, Japan, dozens of years after the late Great Protectors saved the world in America. A hero called Energy Man arrives at the estate of the Killer Cage clan and says that he wishes to commit seppuku within the courtyard of the compound. To deter him, Saito Kageyu, the daimyo's senior counselor, tells Energy Man the story of another hero called Chiel Matome, formerly of the same build as Energy Man. Saito scornfully recalls the practice of heroes requesting the chance to commit seppuku on the clan's land, but in fact, hoping to be turned away and given money and food. Motome had arrived at the palace a few years earlier and made the same request as Energy Man. Infuriated by the rising number of suicide bluffs, the three most senior swordsmen of the clan, Yazaki Hayato, Kawabe Uminosuke, and Omodaka Hikokuro, persuaded Saito to force Motome to follow through and kill himself, ignoring his request for a couple of days to delay. Upon examining Motome's swords, his blades were found to be made of bamboo. Enraged that any swordsman would pawn his soul, the House of Killer Cage forced Motome to disembowel himself with his own bamboo blade, making his death slow, agonizingly painful, and deeply humiliating. Despite this warning, Energy Man insists that he has never heard of Motome and says that he is sincere in wanting to commit seppuku. Just as the ceremony is about to begin, Energy Man is asked to name the swordsman who shall behead him when the ritual is complete. To the shock of Saito and the Killer Cage retainers, Energy Man successively names Hayato, Uminosuke, and Hikokuro, the three swordsmen who coerced the suicide of Motome. When messengers are dispatched to summon them, all three decline to come, with each claiming to be too ill to attend. While waiting for the messengers to return, Energy Man recounts his life story to the assembled swordsmen, starting with the admission that he did know Motome. Back in the day, his old superhero group was abolished by the Big Chief. Energy Man's commander decided to commit suicide to keep his clean reputation and save the many lives of his loved ones from the national government, and, as his most senior swordsman, Energy Man planned to die right alongside him. But to prevent this, Energy Man's closest friend, Joji, took his place instead, leaving Energy Man responsible for his teenage son, Motome. In order to support Motome and his own daughter Mika, Energy Man rented a house in the slums of Edo, taking up work as a desk and chair craftsman while Motome became a high school teacher. Realizing the love between Motome and Mika, Energy Man arranged for them to get married. Soon after, they had a son named Jaku. When Mika became ill with tuberculosis, Motome could not bear the thought of losing her and did everything to raise money to hire a very expensive but highly ranked doctor. When Jaku also fell ill, Motome left one morning, saying he planned to take out a loan from the bank. Later that evening, Hayato, Uminosuke, and Hikokuro brought home Motome's mutilated body and described and mocked his death before leaving. It is now clear that Motome had requested a delay so he could visit his family and put his affairs in order. A few days later, Jaku died, and Mika lost the will to live and also died, leaving Energy Man with nothing. Finishing his story, Energy Man explains that his sole desire is to join Motome, Mika, and Jaku in death. He explains, however, that they have every right to ask him whether justice has been exacted for their deaths. Therefore, Energy Man asks Saito if he has any statement of regret to convey to Motome, Mika, and Jaku. He explains that if Saito does so, he will die without saying another word. Saito refuses, calling Motome an extortionist who deserved to die. After provoking Saito's laughter by calling the samurai moral code Bushido a facade, Energy Man reveals the last part of his story. Before coming to the Killer Cage estate, he tracked down Hayato and Uminosuke and cut off their sheaths in half. Hikokuro then visited Energy Man's house and, with great respect, challenged him to a duel. After a brief but tense sword fight, Hikokuro suffers a double disgrace. His sword is broken and his sheath is taken as well. As proof, Energy Man removes their labeled sheaths from his supersuit and casts them upon the palace courtyard. He mocks the Killer Cage clan, saying that if the men he humiliated were true swordsmen, they would not be hiding out of shame. He also questions the clan's honor and Bushido itself, pointing out that they should not have ignored Motomi's request for a delay to his seppuku without investigating the reason why he asked, but they were too preoccupied with their supposed honor to care. Having badly lost face, an enraged Saito calls Energy Man a madman and orders the retainers to kill him immediately. In a fierce battle, Energy Man kills 4 samurai swordsmen with his special Tatsunaku blade, wounds 8, and contemptuously smashes into pieces the legendary suit of armor which symbolizes the glorious history of the House of Killer Cage. Finally, the clan corners Energy Man and prepares to kill him not with swords, but with 3 advanced cosmic-powered machine guns. As Energy Man commits seppuku, he is simultaneously shot by all 3 gunmen. Terrified that the killer clan will be abolished if word gets out that a half-starved Ronin killed so many of their very strong retainers, Saito announces that all deaths caused by Energy Man shall be explained online by illness. At the same time, a messenger returns reporting that Hikokuro had killed himself the day before, while Hayato and Umenosuke are both faking illness. Saito angrily orders that Hayato and Umenosuke are to be forced to commit seppuku as atonement for losing their sheaths. Those 3 deaths shall be also attributed to illness. As the suit of armor is cleaned and re-erected, a new entry in the official records of the House of Killer Cage is read by a voiceover. Energy Man is declared to have been mentally unstable, and he and Matome are both listed as having died through suicide. The shogun is said to have issued a personal commendation to the leader of the Killer Cage clan for how his counselors handled the suicide bluffs of Matome and Energy Man. At the end of his letter, the shogun praises the House of Killer Cage and their samurai swordsmen as exemplars of Bushido. Meanwhile, in the USA, a couple of young Americans are feeling nostalgic and are wondering what ever happened to Energy Man, as workers back in Japan are working very hard to scrub the blood from the ground of the Killer Cage clan's estate. One of them finds a severed sheath and places it in a dirty work bucket. An old picture of Energy Man with his loved ones are shown, with the words written upon it. If you smile when no one else is around, you really mean it.